Hey guys, today's video is going to be another life update video. It's been a couple months since I've done one of those, so it'll be a little bit of a different format from what I usually do. Not having a script for this one, so I apologize if it is a little bit rambly. So before I get into it, I'm going to be talking a little bit about kind of what's been going on in my life over the past few months from my mental health treatment standpoint. And I'm also going to be talking a little bit about medications because I realized that on here I talk a lot about taking medications, but I've never really talked more about kind of what they are and what I think they're doing for me. So a couple disclaimers before we get into it. In this video, I am going to be talking about suicide and I am going to be talking about self-harm. I'm not going to be going into any detail with these, but they are going to be mentioned. And a big disclaimer, I am not a medical professional in any way. The information that I am sharing here is not medical advice. I'm going to be talking about my own experience with taking these medications, and that experience is not meant to be medical advice for somebody watching this. If medication is something that you are interested in, it is something that you should bring up with a psychiatrist, bring it up with a primary care, a therapist, someone that can get you on the right track with medication, because that is not me, and that is not at all what I'm trying to do. So in terms of my mental health, the past couple months have been extremely difficult. I have periods of time throughout the year where things get worse for me, and periods where things are a little bit easier. A lot of the times that I have trouble with are around different holidays. So the past couple months, just some of the summer stuff going on has been a little bit more difficult for me to handle. And I did end up going back to the hospital. So I actually just got out yesterday. I was there for about 10 days. This was the longest stay that I've had in the hospital, but it was also the best stay that I've had in the hospital. I had a lot of really understanding and caring nurses and doctors and social workers this time around, which was amazing. I've had some very negative experiences, so I was really glad that I had a positive experience. But something that made this day kind of better was the group of people that were there. So the other patients, we formed a very close group during our stay there. We would play games together. We would just sit in silence and read. We would color, just kind of do things, hang out, chat, eat meals together, have fun. It was actually the first time in this particular hospital. There's 4 separate tables that we eat at, and we would push all the tables together so we could all sit around a big table and eat together, which was really fun, honestly. And I'm not trying to be someone that glamorizes psych hospitals, because they're there for a reason, and they're there for you to get help, and they're not there for you to go on a vacation and have fun, but they are meant to be healing. And I found that being in a community of other people who really understood what I was going through and that actually were supportive and were there for me and had their own struggles too was so good and so healing. So I'm really thankful for the time that I got to spend with those people and building that community. I have decided to stay in touch with some of them outside, which I'm very excited for. I think that's something you have to be kind of careful with, because you don't want to stay in touch with people that are going to encourage you to go back to those negative feelings about yourself. But this group in particular, I felt we were all really encouraged to kind of boost each other up and help each other, move forward in our journey. And we weren't trying to, drag people down and go back into negative coping skills together. So I didn't feel like that was a threat. If I felt like someone was going to kind of trigger me that way, I wouldn't have stayed in contact with them. But this stay, again, like I said, it was just so much different than any of my others. And it was honestly really helpful. I got some good sleep while I was there. Sleep really well in psych hospitals. I don't know why. It's very hard to sleep for most people because they open your door every 15 minutes to check on you. But for some reason, while I'm there, fantastic sleep. So I came out feeling pretty refreshed and good about that. I also spoke to a doctor who, and it felt like this was the first time, and I think it was, that I had ever spoken to a psychiatrist where I have said that I have chronic suicidal thoughts and they have understood what I meant. My therapist understands this. He's been seeing me for 2.5 years, so I know this is something he understands. But I had never gotten this from another psychiatrist. My current psychiatrist, we're still kind of in the stage of getting to know each other. So he doesn't really fully understand. I think he will once I get better at opening up about it. But when I talked to this doctor, it was really interesting because he said to me when I said I have chronic suicidal thoughts, he said, "It sounds like you're probably in the percentage of people that will have suicidal thoughts for the rest of their life. So the goal for you in treatment is not to get rid of these suicidal thoughts. The goal in treatment is for you to be able to have the thought, acknowledge the thought, and then move on and not get stuck on it." And right now I'm in the, I'm getting stuck on it. And that's why I go to the hospital, because I'm like, I get suicidal. I want to kill myself and I can't get myself out of that thinking. Eventually, the goal is to get it to the point that I kind of have the thought, it's a passing thought, I acknowledge it, move on with my life. It was just really encouraging to hear that from another professional, and not to be told like, no, your goal is to make sure you never have a suicidal thought again, because as lovely as that would be, I just don't think that that's what my life is going to be. I would be really happy if I could get it more to what this particular psychiatrist was saying. So that was great. The circumstances of me going into the hospital were pretty much the same as they kind of always were. Last time, my last previous hospitalization, I did actually go after a suicide attempt. This time there was no attempt. It was a planned attempt. So I went in on a Saturday. I had a plan for Monday. So my plan was to reassess on Sunday with my therapist if I should go or not, and then reassess again on Monday, kind of depending on what we decided Sunday. However, I got home from therapy Saturday, and after an hour, I was like, I should go right now, because if I wait any longer, maybe I'll end up doing something tomorrow. I don't know. So I reached out to my therapist. I kind of let him know. I was like, I could probably wait till tomorrow, but I think it might be better for me to just go today. And he was like, if you think it's better to go now, there's no point in waiting. He called the emergency department, let them know I was coming, gave them some backstory. I went in, very smooth transition. That was great. Having my therapist call is so helpful and just makes things go so much smoother. So that is it for part 1 of this video. Part 2 of this video will either be later this week or early next week. Probably early next week, since by the time I post this, it'll already be the middle of this week. But this video talked about the hospital. Next video, I will talk about my medication, so be on the lookout for that one. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.